Hello my fellow knights, this is Paul and it is day 11 of our VEDA challenge, VEDA being vlog every day in April. And today is going to be another one where I just kind of talk about what's been on my mind lately as opposed to talking about a specific topic. And today what's been on my mind is a flurry of things, quite the myriad. I mean, I spent most of today also working on that issue with that printer that just would not work, and it turns out the reason is probably something wrong with Windows, so that's kind of taken care of now. We've got a solution in place. And I mean, there was other stuff going on at work. It was a standard Friday. Actually pretty busy for a Friday, but otherwise pretty standard. And then I met up with a friend of mine who was coming into town. We went to go for dinner, because dinner is fucking awesome. Dropped her back off where she's staying for the weekend. Drove around town for another hour just because I could. It was a gorgeous day, like 15 degrees Celsius. Not sure offhand what that is in Fahrenheit, but I'm guessing in the mid-60s. Drove through until there was no sun left in the sky, came home. Watched a video from SourceFed that was the common commentary in Elliot Morgan's last video. For those of you who do watch SourceFed, you probably know what I mean. For those of you who don't watch SourceFed, I highly suggest you start. It's a phenomenal set of channels. And the reason I say set of channels, they're all part of the For Human Peoples, which is Philip DeFranco's group of things. So there's Philip DeFranco's channel, there's his vlog channel, then there's SourceFed and SourceFed Nerd and For Human Peoples itself. The whole group of them are a fantastic group, but the ones I watch most are Philip DeFranco and SourceFed itself. And Elliot Morgan is one of the three hosts that started the whole SourceFed project. It was Lee Newton, Joe Beretta, and Elliot Morgan. And he announced not too long ago that he would be leaving SourceFed for other opportunities. And today's episode, everyone was crying. I mean, Elliot choked up on a word which got Lee bawling, and Joe's like, no, no! And then they all said such sweet words afterwards. It made me realize two things about myself. One, I get way too invested in the emotions of other YouTubers. But that goes back to what I said on day 3 of VEDA, that people online I feel just as close to as I do to people in the real world. They're people I interact with, whether one way or two way, and they are just as important to me as anyone else. They are real people, they have real emotions, and I feel empathetic towards them. But either way, I sat there in my living room crying along with everyone else when Elliot was saying his goodbye and when everyone said the goodbyes to him, and I'm starting to get choked up now just mentioned. That being said, I've noticed I'm getting choked up at a lot of things in the past. This past year of Glee has been such a heart-wrencher. Yes, I watch Glee. What of it? Come at me, bro. Yeah, I'm a Gleek. I wouldn't go so far as actually saying I'm a Gleek, but I do enjoy Glee, and I'll sing along with most of the songs because, well, I like singing, I like karaoke. Anywho, the second thing it made me realize is just how emotional it was for me when I left my previous job. The job I had before the one I'm doing now, which granted I've had for 2 years, and leaving it would be just as hard for me as it would be to leave the previous one, but I worked there for 8 years in the office with people. So unlike here where I work from the comfort of my own home and don't actually see anyone, at that job I actually had a spot in the office. And when I worked there, I got to know so many people. I saw people come and go. I saw people there from the beginning, people there as long as I was. Literally, one person was there, and I believe is still there, who got hired on the same day I did. And leaving that place had such an emotional hit on me, but I didn't let myself express it. To me, it was a job, and I was moving on, and I didn't allow myself to express the feelings of, these are people I have grown close to. These are people who I call my friend. And unfortunately, like so many other things in life, I let most of those people slip away. Some of my best friends are people who worked there, or still work there. Almost everyone I know, aside from a few friends I have back from high school era and drum corps era, are all from this company that I worked with. So yeah, I can understand how leaving a job can be hard on a person. Even though you are leaving for bigger, better things, you have to suffer the fact that you are losing something. But as long as you allow yourself to hold on to the best parts, what you're losing is coworkers. What you're gaining is lifelong companionship. As long as you remember to keep in touch, that is. And I try and live my life without regrets, understanding that every decision I make for a reason, and everything I do, I did for a reason, and everything up until now has led to who I am, so regretting any of it is to regret myself in its entirety. But the fact I've allowed some of these relationships I had to slip away and not even try to hold on to them, that's the closest thing I feel I can come to for a real, true regret. Granted, there are things I've done that I'm not proud of, and there are things in my past that haunt me to this day. But would I have reacted any differently under different circumstances? Probably not. It is who I am. It is who I was. And part of that is when I left that company, I left a lot of good friends behind. And for that, I truly am sorry. So I think what I'm going to start doing is reach out to people. I mean, I still have most of them on Facebook to this day. God, I have too many people on Facebook. But then again, you can never have too many friends. Unless, of course, you go by the scientific study that says there's a limit to the amount of actual personal relationships a person can keep, and the more they make, the less personal each relationship gets, because we just can't keep that many ongoing relationships at a time. But I say phooey to that. That's just statistics, and well, statistics can go suck it. So I've got a song that comes to mind immediately. I frequently have songs that just pop into my mind and fit the situation of today. That, and I know so many goddamn song lyrics that I'll quote things, even things I don't like, and am not proud to be able to quote, just because the situation calls for it. Such as quoting Miley Cyrus at dinner. That was just embarrassing. And then I call myself out on it, like, oh god, I quoted Miley Cyrus, and the person across the table from me is like, I wouldn't have known, but I won't tell anyone. And here I am telling you, so it doesn't really matter if they tell anyone or not. But yeah, the song that's in my head right now, the song that perfectly describes how I feel at this moment, Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. If you haven't ever listened to Queen before, what rock have you been hiding under? If you've listened to Queen and don't like it, well, to each their own. But personally, I find Freddie Mercury to be a fantastic singer and the group of Queen to be a brilliant group of songwriters. Or at least they were. Well, some of them are still around. So I think I'm going to sign off here, blare some YouTube videos of Freddie Mercury, and play some video games. Hell, I might even live stream it. So if you're around and I'm streaming, come join me. I'll probably be playing something silly or something horrible. Anywho, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and take care.